Now, I've been waiting for this talk. I'd like to introduce Brother Er.Aiman Parvaiz. As I said earlier, he's a student of the Quran. He works as a DevOps engineer in a Los Angeles-based software company, but he's currently moved to Canada a couple of years ago. He completed his master's in computer science from University of Southern California and has been working with various tech companies for the last decade. And we are very happy to have him here. And with due respect to all of the scholars and PhDs we have on this in this presentation, I'm looking forward to hearing from Brother Ayman. Brother Ayman, Assalamu alaikum.
Islam. Thanks a lot, Brother Aleem. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm gonna start with sharing my screen, please. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. So once again, thanks a lot, Brother Aleem, for the introduction and for the opportunity. As he mentioned, my name is Er.Aiman Parvaiz, and today I'll be talking about nature's law of success. We all want to be successful in life, irrespective of what we are doing. Every time we work hard, along with the wish to succeed, we are often confronted by uncertainties or fear regarding the outcome of the situation. These fears, these uncertainties, they are age agnostic. Doesn't matter which phase of life you're going through, more often than not, we all have experience dealing with the what ifs of the outcome of the situation at hand. Today, I want to talk about how Quran teaches us to deal with these uncertainties, these fears, and how it positions us, points us to an approach which positions us to succeed, not just in this life, as well as hereafter. In order to explain my findings, I would like to draw your attention towards the concept of formula. It's a very common concept. We all must have heard about it in our lives. Whenever we apply a formula, we are 100% certain that we will get the right result. We have a faith in the formula that it will give us the correct result, assuming obviously that the formula being applied is right. Otherwise, we go back and fix the formula and get the right result. Just like our math teacher gave us a formula to solve a problem in class, our supreme teacher, God, has given us a formula to successfully solve this complicated problem called life. And that formula has been presented to us in the form of the Quran. If we look around in universe, we see that nothing is haphazard. Every action of nature is part of a process, and these processes are governed by various laws. For example, if we want to sow a seed, if we want to get a plant, we have to sow a seed. We have to water the seed. There's a whole process associated to it. And for that process to be completed successfully, we have laws governing those. For example, you sow the seed, law of gravity comes into play. You water the seed, law of absorption comes into play. Seed turns into a plant, carries out photosynthesis, makes food with the help of the sun. Sun comes up, goes down at a fixed time. It's all laws which are coming into play, which are supporting this process and processes which we see every day in the nature. These laws, they are never changing. For example, you'll never find that gravity just decides to quit over a weekend, or we'll never find that a plant decides not to carry out, a healthy plant decides not to carry out photosynthesis when the sun is out. So every creation is governed by nature's laws. Now, just like outer laws, which I talked about, God has also created laws for our internal universe. These laws are responsible for governing how we spend our life, how we live our life. A question which comes to my mind is like, all is good that we have these laws, but how does that affect us? What's the purpose behind these laws? In order to address that, let's start with internal laws. We all know that God is the sustainer of all the worlds. We call him Rabbul Alameen. Being the sustainer, he has mandated growth and development of each and every creation upon himself. And in order to carry out that growth and development, he has laid down these laws. One thing to understand here is that no other creation except humans have free will. So all these laws, which are mandatory for growth and development, are hardwired into all the creations in the universe. As I was saying, gravity doesn't have the free will to say, I won't work over a weekend. Sun doesn't have the free will to say, I'll be late for sunrise or sunset. But humans, on the other hand, have free will. So for humans, it has to be a conscious decision. They have to make a choice that they want to abide by these laws, which are mentioned by the God. And for this choice to be conscious, they have to first understand and learn what these laws are. That means they have to go back, read and understand the Quran, and understand, learn about those laws, and then choose to abide by them in order to be successful both in this world and hereafter. Next, I want to talk about an ayat from the Quran. This is Surah Al-Naml, ayah 84. Until when they will have come before the judgment throne, he will say, did you belie my signs because you could not comprehend them in your knowledge? Or what else was it that you have been doing? If we look at this ayat, it tells us that God is asking humans on the day of judgment that my signs, why did you not comprehend them in your knowledge? So apparently there is something which needs to be comprehended. There is something which needs to be understood and taken into our knowledge before we can decide which way to go. And God is saying, if this is not what you were doing, what were you doing? So it doesn't matter. Whatever else you were doing, why were you not doing this? So we see there's a lot of emphasis on studying the ayats, the signs or the laws. And the reason why I feel this emphasis is because this is the best possible way to recognize God, to understand God. Till we don't recognize him, till we don't acknowledge his greatness, it's not possible to gain conviction on his words. If we want to study any creator, the best way to do that is by studying his creations. And when we go about and study these outer laws, the laws in nature, we reach a logical conclusion that this universe has not just come into existence by chance. There is a greater force at work here. I mean, if God wanted, he would have made everything pretty simple. Why is that everything around us is so complex, is so complicated? I'm talking about nature. We are at a stage in our civilization where on one hand, we have SpaceX taking us to Mars. On the other hand, we still don't fully understand our own brain. So there has to be a reason why God created everything the way it's created, and it's not simple at all. And I feel the reason is because God wants us to go about and study these creations of his, and from there, understand how great he is, acknowledge his greatness and the depths of his knowledge. And then with this kind of a track record, it makes us super easy to gain conviction on his word. We gain conviction that whatever this great force who has created this beautiful universe has prescribed to us as to how we should live our lives, that is the best possible way, because we have seen a track record. We have a reason to get convinced. We have a reason to gain conviction now. And we gain conviction that yes, if we live our lives by Quran and read it, understand it, and put it into practice, there will be a definite success. We will see positive results. We will see favorable results. Those results might be away from our sight as of now, but they will indeed happen. This conviction is conviction on the unseen, or as we call in Urdu, ghaib par iman lana. So this is the purpose of laws in my understanding. It helps us understand God, recognize God, acknowledge God, and help us to gain conviction or strengthen our conviction over his word or his directives. Before I proceed, I want to make a quick comment here. In the previous slide, when we talked about studying the ayats, studying the signs or the natural laws, you don't really have to be a physicist to do that. You don't have to be a mathematician to do that. In this day and age, this data is available for people to all background. It's been watered down so that everybody can understand. For example, I want to cite two examples here. We all have Netflix at home. We have documentaries there. Just go and watch them out, check them out, and see how nature works. We all have smartphones. We all are associated with one social media or the other. I was scrolling one of the social media I'm part of, and the other day I saw this post which says that reindeer, in order to survive properly in winter, need to change its eye color. And I just paused for a second and pondered over this post and wondered how great that God is, how impressive his knowledge is, that he knew that for his creation, this creation to succeed, to survive, it needs to capture more light and needs to change the eye color, and it's hardwired into it. It doesn't have to do anything, it just happens. So the more I thought about it, the more I was awed by the God and his creation and his knowledge. And the only reaction, a response which I could muster was, indeed, the prayer, the praise is for God. Next, let's take a look at few ayahs from the Quran. This is ayah 35, Surah Al-Araf. O mankind, our messengers will come to you and announce our directives to you. Whosoever adheres to them and lives righteously by doing noble deeds, which are healthy and constructive for one's own self, as well as for the society, will be free of fear, grief, and anxiety. But those who discredit them and treat them with arrogance will be inmates of Jahannam, wherein they shall abide. Surah An-Nur, ayah 55. God has promised those of you who have attended to faith and do righteous deeds that offer certainty. He will cause them to accede to power on earth. Ayah 97, Surah An-Nahl. As for anyone, man or woman, who does righteous deeds and attains to conviction, we will certainly cause him to live a good life. Now, if we look at these ayahs, and not just these three ayahs, there are several others in the Quran, but we do find a common pattern here. You gain conviction, you do good deeds, and results would be favorable. It's like God is saying in Quran that good deeds, after gaining conviction, would always lead to good results. We all know that God has promised to protect Quran till the end of the time. When we say that God's going to protect Quran, that means Quran is never changing. When Quran is never changing, the contents of the Quran, the ayats, they are also never changing. And anything which never changes is a law. So we can say that the common pattern which you find in these three ayats which I have mentioned here and the several others in the Quran, if we have conviction, we do good deeds, we will get favorable results. Let's take a look. Conviction, good deed, we will certainly cause him to live a good life. Conviction, good deed, he will cause them to accede to power on earth. Conviction, good deed, will be free of fear, grief, and anxiety. Now, when we look at these ayats and this pattern, we see that it's a law, the law of requital, which governs the quality of life, or karma as we call it. You reap what you sow. You reap good stuff, you're going to get good results. Now, what's good stuff? What's good deed? We're going to check it out in a second. But this definitely comes out and stands out very clearly that this law exists, that you do good deeds, you gain conviction, good deeds, you will be successful. Let's take a moment here. During the starting of the presentation, I mentioned that how every time when we are working hard and we want to succeed, we are confronted by these what ifs. We have these uncertainties, we have these fears regarding the outcome of the situation. If we go by this law, then the task at hand, as long as the task at hand and the approach which we adopt to accomplish that task falls under the purview of the Quran, then the success is guaranteed. We don't have to worry about anything. We don't have to be nervous. We don't have to fear what will happen. We don't have to deal with the what ifs. So this, in my personal life, this particular understanding helped me out a lot as I was entering the practical life. And this, just like the outer laws, this is also a never changing law, as we saw earlier. So this is what we have up till now. Conviction plus good deeds is success. We have talked about conviction already. Let's take a look at good deeds. When you gain conviction on the word of Allah, you read Quran, you understand it, you put it in practice, it gives you a goal in life. It tells you why you have been sent on earth, how you're supposed to live, what you're supposed to do. And those fundamentals are, those goals are fundamentally around restoring balance in one's own self, the society, and serving others. Now, with these teachings in mind, when you go about doing any deed in your daily life, you are doing a good deed. We can say that deeds which are performed to put in practice Quran's teachings are good deeds. And this can be something as trivial as shoveling neighbor's snow. You are being helpful. Separating recycling from trash. You are preventing pollution. Tolerating honking at a stoplight. This happens a lot, especially coming from LA. Tolerating honking at stoplight to an elderly driver. Be patient. To the other end of the extreme, you're fighting for injustice and inequality in the society. You're fighting for women's rights. You're fighting for climate change. All these are good deeds. And when you have conviction, you have good deeds, you will be successful. That's the promise of the Quran. The next thing I want to talk about is integrating Quran in our daily lives. In this day and age, when we all are busy with our 9-to-5 commitments, we all are busy keeping the lights on, paying our mortgages, how can I integrate Quran, fully integrate Quran in our daily lives? Let's take a look at an ayat from Quran to find some direction here. This is ayat 22, Surah Luqman. It says, the right course is that on which one keeps his attitudes, ambitions, and requirements subjected to the divine laws, and in this way leads a balanced and graceful life. Such a person has grasped the most trustworthy support, which will never fail him, because everything in the universe happens according to the divine laws. It is just not possible that anything would go wrong for a person who takes guidance from those laws. This ayah gave us a practical implementation of gaining conviction and doing good deeds. Quran says that you can fulfill your 9-to-5 commitments. You can be a father, a mother, a wife, a husband, a friend. You can carry out a balanced, normal life and still integrate Quran. How? By keeping your attitude, your ambitions, and your requirements subjected to the divine laws. Basically, I'm going to build up on the point which I mentioned the last slide. When you study Quran, when you understand it, when you put it into practice, you get a better understanding of what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to be doing in your life. And when you start putting that into practice in various aspects of your life, be it financial, social, professional, when each and every decision of your daily life is being driven by Quranic teachings, when before making any decision, you go back to the Quran or you recall in your mind what Quran says, how should I be dealing with this situation? High level. Obviously, Quran doesn't go into each and every detail, but what's the basic fundamental teaching which Quran has for this kind of situation? And when you do that, you are integrating Quran in your daily life, and not just integrating, you are doing a good deed. And we have seen in the past, in the earlier slides, conviction, good deeds, always success. Okay, towards the conclusion, towards the end, I would like to say that, brothers and sisters, there is a lot of material available in the market about how to be successful. All these authors, all these gurus which are telling us how to be successful in life, none of them can guarantee success in this life, and definitely not in the hereafter. Only God can guarantee. And he has told us how to go about it. Conviction plus good deeds is success. Now, in order to apply this formula in our life to be successful in both the lives here and hereafter, we have to go back to the original source. We have to understand first what these laws are. What are those things which make a deed good or bad? These definitions of good and bad, they vary with time. Every society, every civilization can have a different definition of good, bad, success, failure, right, wrong. But Quran is protected till the end of the time. Quran has permanent values. Those values would never change. So we have to understand what those values are so that we can live according to it to be successful. And as I was saying, we have to go back to the Quran, understand it, read it, understand it, put it into practice, and it positions ourselves to be successful both in this life and hereafter. With that, I would like to conclude and would like to thank the host here for the opportunity. And this is just a humble effort to motivate one another to read Quran. and understand Quran and put it into practice. And again, as I said, as Brother Ali mentioned, I'm just a student of the Quran. I'm in no way an expert here. And my whole goal was to do justice to the message. And I hope I was able to do that. Thanks a lot again for the opportunity, host. Wassalamu alaikum.
Thank you, Brother Ayman, for that wonderful presentation. It reminded me, there's a quote from Mark Twain. He says that if I had more time, I would write a shorter letter. And your explanation of the Quran via these formulas that you came up with, conviction plus good deeds is equal to success. You can't get any shorter than this, and it can't be more effective than this. So
I'm an engineer at the end of the day.
yes, absolutely. So, and I think this is what this conference and this meeting is about. And I think Dr. Aslam presented this in his lecture also, that we all need to be conscious. We all need to make an effort to understand the Quran. And Allah has given us this ability. It is not only certain people who have the ability to understand the Quran, it is all of us. Allah has given us a mind, He has given us intellect, and it is our responsibility to understand the Quran. You know, Ibn Arabi is saying, I love one of his statements. He says that to understand the Quran, you need ilm and imagination. So I sincerely appreciate the imagination that you have brought into this discussion. And of course, it's founded on the base of ilm also. Again, thank you so much, Brother Ayman.
Thank you.